everyone, and welcome back to Frequency Writer, Color the Magic, and Whole Soul Mastery. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, a creative spirit, and a cosmic messenger of living a rich, inspired, empowered, and authentic life in these Ascension times. And here we are on Christmas Eve, 2024, on the cusp of Christmas Day 2024 and January 1st, the new year. We're moving into the energies and frequencies of 2025, and we have a lot of beautiful things to talk about today. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and let's take a deeper dive into the big picture review. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the final stage in the hero's journey as outlined and defined by Joseph Campbell. He calls that final stage, stage 12, return with the elixir. We're going to be talking about more details related to that in a little bit. I also have something prepared for you. 'Twas the night before Christmas for the Divine Ascension hero. I have a little story to share at the end. We're going to be talking about clearing our old stories, right? Our old identities, the ways we attach ourselves to the 3D matrix, that old paradigm that's flushing and washing away, and embracing the new beginnings that 2025 offers to us all. So here we are for the big picture review, and the first thing that comes to heart and mind for me is this time of the Christmas magic. I'm making this video on Christmas Eve, which I hope to release on Christmas Eve, and I feel that there is a magic, there's a lightness in this holiday season. No matter what holidays that you celebrate this time of year, it is the season of light. It's a season of coming together with family and friends and gathering around the table and connecting and sharing your hearts and really expanding the light of love. And so we're also going to be talking about huge wishes, epic wishes for a very happy and joyful 2025. The dawn of a new era is here. I don't know if many of you are feeling that. Some of us have just been trying to keep pace with all the holiday season, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, whatever, ways that you celebrate this holiday season. I know that a lot of us have been in the hustle and bustle, and more than usual because we are in these ascension times, which means the quantum quickening is creating this sense of ascension in the fast lane, and just trying to keep up with our calendars, our 3D calendars, has been pretty wild. At least for me, I'll speak for myself. It's been a pretty wild time to keep up with time in a linear realm when I am much more quantum and not bound by time. And yet there are the 3D understandings of time. So if that resonates for any of you, I'm experiencing it too. But we're all aware that we're about to move into this new golden age. We are at the midpoint of this ascension decade. And so 2025 is really a New Year's Eve to celebrate and to usher in with joy and glee and divine anticipation of the newness and the innovation and the acceleration of change that is going to free this prison planet on so many levels that we can't even yet language, but we can at least express some of the energies that we're feeling. And I hope that some of the energies that I'm expressing resonate for you and give you a language at least to give words to some of the things that you may be experiencing. Okay, we're also going to be talking about stage 12 of the hero's journey. We talked about that just a minute ago. Return with the elixir. And there's a lot of details about that we're going to be talking about. I also want to talk about this energy of embracing looking forward and not looking back. Leaving the old chapters behind, the old 3D matrix behind, the old identities and soul scripts that we've been given and been on that karmic treadmill forever and ever and ever. We're the ones that keep it alive by our beliefs in it. So if we will leave more of those old chapters behind, if it's anxiety, if it's a sense of lack and scarcity, if it's a sense of struggle, if it's a sense of not belonging or not having community, or if it's a lack of health, a lot of the stories that make up our personalities and our identities come from our egos, and our egos serve the serpent's matrix. And what is crumbling? The serpent's matrix. It is time for God to usher in the true divine creation, and it's the end of this old theater of illusion that we are seeing crumbling. For some people, it's just cookie crumb by cookie crumb, and for some people, it's a tsunami of change that's already underway. And it all depends on your vibrational levels of soul sight, your divine eyes, your clarity of soul sight that you see through your heart center, not through your ego's lenses. Your ego is not going to be able to see this. It will only be able to recreate and resurrect its fear, its resistance, its tension, its division, all the games it plays with us and with you to keep you in the matrix, because that's the only realm that it is aware of that even exists. It's your heart and your soul self, your center, your soul center in your heart center. So let's talk about that, leaving the old chapters behind and embracing what is true and new for you, even if the divine realm of creation, the true creation, is not actually new. We are returning to what always was, but it'll be a new experience to be embracing it again as a collective consciousness and as an individual soul in God's divine creation. It is so exciting. It's such an exciting time to be alive. I'm thrilled to be here talking with all of you about these changes. And I have more awareness of more changes that are coming. Anybody that's tapped into the sense of quantum change, things quickening, financial systems leaving and crumbling, and new ones coming in and ushering in to take their places. Yes, it involves digital currencies. Yes, it involves things backed that are asset backed. There's a whole new world coming in as the old world leaves, right? As the old world leaves. And so as we're talking about embracing looking forward, and not looking back in the rearview mirror, right? There's a calling to all leaders of change that's going out. It's been going out for a long time, most of this decade especially. But there's a calling and a summoning to all leaders of change to vision and co-create this planet in wholeness, abundance, health, well-being, and union with all of divine creation again. It is a most joyous occasion. And the fact that we are at this precipice and this point with each other, this quantum precipice, again, there are layers and layers and layers of precipices, but we are at one of the biggest, right here at the midpoint of this Ascension decade. And leaders of change, those who will lead this revolution, this evolution, this emancipation, this expansion of soul light on the planet, you are notified. Not just by me, but by source. The calling has been there for some time, but it is a joyful occasion, and I'm celebrating how many of us have been called. So thank you for joining me in these calls, and thank you for being willing to have your soul skills at the ready to respond to whatever you're called to do, to step up to the next layer and the next aspects of your soul's purpose. We're going to be feeling that ever more so in the new year. We are the change makers, the dreamers, the architects, the authors, the teachers, and the artisans of a rising and risen divine 5D and higher new earth. Trumpets of change are sounding. Can you hear them? Bells of new beginnings are ringing. Can you hear them? We're all being summoned to participate in this grand new birth. And now I wish to say this Christmas, this holiday season, I invite you to feel your conscious leadership light guiding the way to living your true soul path and your true soul purpose in the new year in 2025. Today, as I was putting together these slides, I was really feeling rise and thrive in 2025. That's a nice affirmation, right, for this new year. So we still have the holiday season to go through. This Christmas Eve, it's the eve of this new birth. It's the eve of magic unfolding on the planet in a level, I'm talking light magic, God's ability to shower this world in bliss and freedom and emancipation and liberation and sovereignty. It's all coming back to us for those that are willing to take the steps to open their soul vision, open their soul sight, connect with their heart centers, breathe in union with the divine, and claim it for themselves. So I also want to bring in some insights from Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, who passed away just a couple of months ago, but her teachings are timeless and they live on, and I hope that they live on through me. There's so many gems in her works and in her writings. So I've been talking about some messages that she has in her book, Dare to Be Great. She's offered so many messages in many of her books that she published over the decades, but we're looking at Dare to Be Great for now. And Terry teaches the potential to experience anything that is or has been available to any person is available to you in this moment. Who and what you are now, and who and what you desire to become, are what is most important, not who and what you were yesterday. So powerful as we see the closing out of 2024. We are watching and paying attention to the return with the elixir, that 12th stage of the hero's journey. There's this dichotomous oneness that we talked about in the last video, about the old chapters leaving and the new chapters birthing, but in the duality of this realm, that there's this oneness occurring. So there's a part of us that, if we are not aware of the duality and we're not aware of how polarity has been used against us, we might be playing one against the other. We might be afraid to let go of what we have and what we know about ourselves to embrace who we truly are, right? And those are 2 points on the same wave of frequency of you. And if you can simply be aware that we are exiting out of the matrix, we are exiting out of who you were yesterday, because a lot of what we've known ourselves to be is what has been fed through data, through our karmic threads and entanglements on the treadmill of reincarnation again and again. Terry was always talking about being you now. Take a breath for now and be here now. Be that now. Be God in you now. So that's a powerful quote when you put all these things that we've been talking about for many years. But in recent months, in 2024, we've talked a lot about this. And Terry was here talking with me about many of these things. But I'm going to read that quote one more time. The potential to experience anything that is or has been available to any person is available to you in this moment. Who and what you are now, and who and what you desire to become, are what is most important, not who and what you were yesterday. And you can just include anything from yesterday as something potentially in the 3D illusion that is being kicked to the curb, that's being dematerialized now as we speak. And the joy of 2025 coming alive, and you thriving in the aliveness of 2025, and that pivotal moment in all of creation that's occurring, is for you to embrace that you're becoming more of who you always were. We just left our consciousness, we left our connectedness with our higher selves, our soul selves is what I really mean to say. Your true eternal self has always been you. Terry was saying this too, and she still is in many of her videos on her YouTube channel. You can find her at Terry Cole Whitaker on YouTube. So now I want to spotlight Terry's book again, Dare to Be Great. Do you know that it was originally titled, Every Saint Has a Past, Every Sinner a Future? I mean, just marinate on that title that never really came to be, because I think it was actually published under Dare to Be Great. But let's feel that for a minute. Every saint has a past, and every sinner a future. Every single one of us has a past that's part of a grand illusion, right? That's been part of the serpent's matrix, that we've been on the treadmill, that we've been talking about. Every saint has a past. We all have one. Yet simultaneously, every sinner has a future. That means every single one of us has a tomorrow, has this newness that's becoming more of who we are as a divine, eternal soul. And I love the energy of that. I invite you to really feel into that as we cross that threshold from 2024 into January 2025. I think the world is not going to be the same after we turn that corner into 2025. Many of you are aware of this, and I'm very aware of it, and I'm calling it into your attention and your awareness. But if you need a bridge, really feel into that. Every saint has a past, every sinner a future. And when we shed all the things that aren't true about us, what we're going to be left with is our eternal soul self that is a bright light, that has tremendous soul skills, that we've journeyed through time. And I believe more and more of us are going to begin to have access to our allness through time. telling you, this crossing that threshold into 2025 is the most exciting thing of a soul time that I have ever seen in any time I can remember being incarnated in a physical body. So I am super excited, and I hope that you feel super excited. I hope this excitement and this anticipation with joy and eagerness and enthusiasm is contagious. So on the next three sides, I want to review three examples that Dr. Terry gives in her book, Dare to Be Great, of people in history who had to give up their old lives, dying while they were alive, to their former identities, to their former attachments, to their former illusions of themselves, to birth something new. Who's ready to birth something new? I'm ready to birth something new. I imagine that if you're listening to a video like this, it's possible that you very much would like to birth something new. So let's take a look at three of these examples from Terry that you would find in her book, Dare to Be Great. Okay, this first example from Dr. Terry, she says, what would Mary Magdalene's future have been if, instead of accepting forgiveness from Jesus, she had continued to worry about how others saw her or what they were saying or thinking about her? Her neighbors would never see her as changed, for they would always see her as a prostitute, no matter how reformed and pure she became. She confessed her mistakes and asked for forgiveness, and it was given. There was no need for her to immerse herself in shame and guilt for more than a minute, for she had seen the error of her ways and chosen a new life. Mary would always be guilty in the eyes of the townspeople, but she was always pure in the eyes of Jesus. If Mary had not been degraded, her example of surrender would not have been so strong. Her past was the very fuel for her transformation and 180-degree turnaround towards spiritual freedom. Mary Magdalene's story, it may not be exactly like your story or my story, but that archetypal energy of the soul lessons are very much ours to relate to right now, right? If she had not accepted the forgiveness that Jesus granted in an instant with her request, right? When she confessed her mistakes and asked for forgiveness, it was given. If she had continued to rehash all her mistakes after the forgiveness, her neighbors would never have seen her as changed, for they would always have seen her for what she was. How could they have seen her for the new wings that Jesus gave to her? This new spiritual freedom that she was to embody and be a teacher of simply by her embodiment of it. That's us. That's us. Okay, I love that message from Dr. Terry. The second example that Dr. Terry gives in her book, Dare to Be Great, Saint Francis comes to mind as another example of a sinner turned saint, a cheating merchant and thieving soldier of fortune. After being wounded in battle, he was lying in a coma in his room when he had a profound change of heart. Awakened by the sweet sound of a bird, he somehow saw clearly the purpose of life. The sound of a bird after an extraordinary challenge in his life. That helped him to awaken to the purpose of his life. After his transformation, he left his old life never to return. Dr. Terry says, here a cruel person had become a saint, not by lamenting his past and beating himself up every day for his mistakes, but by seeing another way to live and living it. All he did was change his direction and walk forward into a life of freedom. These examples that Dr. Terry is giving to us in a timeless teaching, right? These are sinners turned saints, right? They left their old lives behind. They have these transformative moments where they were one way a minute ago, and then they're this new way going forward, and they don't look back, right? So powerful. Okay, and the third one, Dr. Terry says, one more sinner comes to mind, Saul. What would have happened to Christianity if Saul, the tax collector and persecutor of Christians, who later became Saint Paul, had not had a change of heart? As Saul, he violently murdered Christians by throwing them to the lions to be eaten alive. Did he wallow in guilt after his awakening? No, he left his old life behind in a flash when he was given revelation and a taste of the supreme bliss of the love of God. Did he think, my life is over because I have made so many horrible mistakes? No, he left it all behind and walked forward into the light of a new day with the knowledge of a new way to be. That is the invitation for us as we walk through these gates. In December 2024, right on December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve, we have the opportunity to walk through these gates and into 2025 with this zest and this new life and this new birth. These are powerful insights from Dr. Terry, and she has so many in her books and in the book Dare to Be Great. Every morsel is something to unpack, at least I find, and really marinate in the gift of the decades of study of so many resources in her life that she was exploring, and teachings and sacred texts and scrolls. I mean, she was a digger. Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker was a digger because she was a seeker of truth. And we have these 3 quotes that I'm sharing today to marinate in. And who are you not to be the saint of your own sinner's experience? Who are you not to walk through the gates of 2025 and be ready to be fully birthed anew and allow your wings to unfurl and expand the way we've been talking about on this channel for many years now? It is time for the wings to unfurl. It is time for this freedom and sovereignty to be lived and embodied by you. But we are the ones who must give permission. We are the ones who must choose to be forgiven and allowed to be who we truly are. It's us. It's us. Okay, I have 3 quotes from Dr. Terry that I really wanted to spotlight before we get into stage 12 of the hero's journey and bring that parable to closure. So Dr. Terry says, courage is the price one must pay for greatness. It's not just given. I mean, forgiveness is granted, but then it's what you do with the forgiveness. Can you step into the newness that you've been offered to be? Or do you want to go back into the old chapters of your story that you were just forgiven for? It takes a lot of courage to discover ourselves anew. It takes a lot of courage to allow ourselves to step into thriving in 2025. If 2024 and earlier, all those earlier versions of you had some elements of suffering and some elements of being tethered to the karmic story that you once were, it takes courage to step into the new. It takes courage to rise and thrive beyond all the things that the illusion has thrown at you time and time again for centuries and centuries and centuries of time. Let's buck up in our courage. Let's embrace our courage with enthusiasm because it is the price we pay for greatness. It is the price we pay for our own liberation. It is the price we pay to reclaim our divine blueprints and soar in the true timeline of God. Very, very powerful. Okay, this quote from Dr. Terry, she says, most well-known saints and philosophers underwent a crisis at some point in their lives, as have other extraordinary people throughout time. But instead of giving up and succumbing to permanent discouragement, bitterness, and dejection, they sought to find the solution. In fact, this is the higher purpose of tribulation. If you are at a point where you are questioning things in your life, if you are at a point where the world just isn't quite making sense, if you're at a point where the duality and polarity and divisiveness and division is at a fever pitch, maybe that's you being one of these saints and philosophers who are going through your own personal crisis of belief, crisis of values, crisis of sight. Are you going to see through your ego's lenses, or are you going to see through your soul sight, your divine eyes, right? The opportunity in front of you to choose the path that leads back to the God timeline. We put ourselves on those paths. It's through our choosing. It's through our accepting the forgiveness that's being granted here. This grace that's being given to our planet, to humanity, to all sentient life on this planet at this time. This Ascension decade is all about letting go and clearing and exiting the 3D matrix that is not who we really are at all. So the higher purpose of tribulation is so saints and philosophers and courageous souls and epic avatars make the choice to go searching for the truth, and the truth is God. Same frequency, right? That celestial living light that we've talked about, the truth, seeking God, seeking unification with God through the conscious breathing. All of that happens usually through some kind of crisis, some kind of shaking up of your life. Those tribulations bring through this higher purpose of getting you back in union with Source from the cycle of separation, right? The choice is there. The opportunity is here for us, and it's especially here on the threshold of 2025. Will you choose it? Will you choose it? Remember, courage. Remember, courage is the price one must pay for greatness. Courage is the price, the investment we make in ourselves for the greatness and the freedom and the sovereignty and the expansion that we truly most desire. So powerful. And here's the third quote from Terry. In order to proceed toward a brighter day and toward the greater rewards available to you in this moment and in all your moments to come, you will first need to believe that every moment is the start of something wonderful. Today really is the first day of the rest of your eternal life. How extraordinary is that? I love that. I'm sure she has videos on this topic, right? She was always greeting us in her videos, and she would say, "Greetings, dear, eternal, precious, divine spirit soul." I could just hear her smiling as I'm saying that. Right? Maybe Terry's using my voice just in this moment to say this to you. Greetings, dear, precious, eternal, divine spirit soul. Today really is the first day of the rest of your eternal life. Don't we want to feel like this person on the screen? Oh my gosh, we want to embrace this. This is us as we cross that threshold into January 1st, 2025 at the stroke of midnight. That is really an epic first day into the rest of your eternal life, leading you into post-ascension experiences where you are living more the fullness of your divine sacred breathing with Source and living your life on purpose, on soul purpose, in unification with God and the great talents and gifts you have to implement God's great works. You are this being. I am this being. We are being summoned and called, all of us, to participate in the creation and the expansion of this newness of God's great works, which Earth is one of God's great works in creation, right? It is such an exciting time. And she is definitely talking about how we are the ones that need to believe. We are the ones who need to know that today, in every moment, is the start of something wonderful. Today really is the first day of the rest of your eternal life. How about that for an affirmation or a prayer, whatever your language is, to connect with the source of all things and the soul energy inside yourself that has lived many lifetimes and is going to live many more, and who wants to die to the old self of you now so that you can embrace the rest of your eternal life with great joy and enthusiasm. It is extraordinary. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate that we talk about this word change, and we're definitely in changing times. The world is changing. We know we're in a time of quantum and ascension change. And I had found this on the internet. I don't know who the creator of this is or was, but I certainly would like to give credit. It's an acronym that can stand for C for compassion, H for healing, A for awareness, N for nurture, G for growth, and E for empowerment. That's a great way if you read the more information on each of those letters, what that can mean for you. But let's embrace with a great deal of courage and fortitude and faith change, these epic changes. And as Wayne Dyer talks about dying to ourselves while we're alive, we talked about that a lot in the last video, I believe. There's this epic change inside and out in every single cell, in every single breath, in every single structure, in every single frequency on this planet. Change is coming. Change is here, right? A new world is birthing, and we're a part of that. The more we can embrace change with compassion, healing, awareness, nurturing, growth, positive personal growth, and positive personal empowerment, the easier and more joyful the journey is going to be. The more we resist the change, the more that energy of suffering and the duality on that same wave of joy is also the opportunity or option of suffering. I am going to choose as much joy as I can muster, as much courage and fortitude and faith as stepping out on those waves as I can. I hope you'll join me out there. Okay, so let's review the hero's journey, the parable that Joseph Campbell popularizes in his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. This parable can be broken down into 3 stages. There's the initiation, the journey, and the return. When we're talking about stage 12, we are in the time of the return. We are in the final stage of Joseph Campbell's stages of the hero's journey. The hero's journey is complete, and they have been transformed by their experiences. So let's review the 12 stages. I'm going to name each of the stages, and you're welcome to look back at these slides if you feel called, or you can always look up Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey in the 12 stages, and they'll come up. Stage number 1 is the ordinary world. Stage number 2, the call to adventure. 3, refusal of the call. 4, meeting the mentor. 5, crossing the threshold. 6, tests allies and enemies. 7, approach to the inmost cave. 8, the ordeal. 9, the reward, seizing the sword. 10, the road back. 11, the resurrection. And number 12 is return with the elixir. The hero now returns to the ordinary world, bringing with them the wisdom, the power, and the knowledge gained on their own journey and sharing it with others. It is a powerful stage. We know that resurrection stage we talked about before, that they're re-emerging into that ordinary world. But stage 12, there's more qualities to it that we're going to talk about here in a moment, returning with the elixir. So let's look into that a little deeper so we understand more of what this means for us in our journeys. So this was just from a Brave search, and some quotes emerged, and that's why I didn't put them on some other slides, because they're all on this one. Joseph Campbell, return with the elixir. Campbell describes this stage of the hero's journey as the end is the beginning is the end. Let's just think about the word simultaneously. That's a big word that I've been sharing in my messages over the last few years. All time is one. All time is now. The ending is in the same breath as the beginning. It's in that same moment. They're not polarized. I love that. The end is the beginning is the end. It's all now. It's all one. It's all everything. Everything, everywhere, all at once, I guess you could say, right? The treasure you seek is in the cave you fear to enter. Campbell emphasizes the importance of facing one's fears and doubts to discover the true self and the elixir of life. Number 3, the hero is the champion of things becoming, not of things become. Right? It's in the emergence. It's in the unfolding. It's in the unfurling of our wings where we are the champion of things becoming, not of things already done, not of things already happened. Right? Campbell highlights the ongoing process of transformation and growth rather than a fixed destination. Right? Even with stage number 12, the hero's journey does not end. It's just a new beginning. The end is the beginning is the end. The end of that hero's journey and the return with the elixir is just marking a new beginning of the conversations that hero is going to have with their community and their families and the people they know. And the ripples of those conversations are going to go out, forever changing the everything, everywhere, all at once, simultaneously. Number 4, Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. Campbell encourages individuals to pursue their passions and desires, trusting that the universe will respond and reveal new opportunities. 2025, huge, epic, seismic, new opportunity on every level, on all scales, in every direction. it's just so epic. And so I'm glad that we're talking about this today because it's such an energy and it's hard to put it into words. So we grab fragments that piece together the much bigger picture of the vastness of creation, but we really feel it to know it. We close our eyes and we aren't even limited by words at that point, and we let ourselves follow our bliss on the inner planes, right? On the inner planes where there are no limitations there. Number 5, the goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature. Campbell emphasizes the importance of aligning oneself with the natural world and the rhythms of life, right? There's something so profound. And a lot of people who start to awaken, one of the first things they start to realize is like, trees have an essence. Trees are sentient, right? The nature is alive, awake, and aware, just like you are becoming to be in our sleepy states when we weren't quite awake to how alive creation truly is. But as you start to awaken to the truth of the sentience of everything, right? The frequencies of everything, all of a sudden you start to realize this aliveness. We've been in a cycle of the serpent's usurped creation, and there's been this kind of deadness, which is why we have mortality. I think that also may change somehow in the near future. We are going to see things we could never have imagined in our lifetimes. Dreamers can imagine it, but a lot of people who don't spend time dreaming or time in their soul vision, they might just think it is the way that the serpent has shown it to us, that there's a finality to things, there's a limitation to things, there's a threshold for things. No, in the expansive, eternal nature of creation, it is always transforming. It is always expanding. And so too are you, and so too am I. These quotes illustrate Campbell's ideas about the transformative power of the hero's journey, the importance of facing one's fears, and the pursuit of bliss and alignment with the universe. The return with the elixir stage represents the culmination of the journey, where the individual returns with newfound wisdom, power, and purpose, ready to share their experiences and insights with others. This is where many of us are on the story arc. And again, we are not in an ending per se. We are in an ending that's simultaneously a beginning and a new expansion. This is why it's so exciting for many of us who've been preparing for years, for decades, for lifetimes, to be here now, to be the ones who have an elixir to share. Just to be aware that you have an elixir to share is a divine gift in this holiday season. So profound. Okay, I just have a few slides. I pulled them from capedcoaching.com. Again, I just like some of their messages when they go into the muse about the stages presented by Joseph Campbell. So they basically are talking about the 12th stage in a 12-part series on the hero's journey, or the monomyth proposed by Joseph Campbell. The final stage is the return with the elixir that we've been talking about. And they quote, "The end is the beginning is the end." At the end of the hero's journey, we find contentment and peacefulness. Rest assured that we have changed, remade, or otherwise saved the world. Every tree-bound feline has been rescued. Every thoroughfare safely traversed by both young and old, and every threat referred to the nearest asylum, hospital, or prison. But there is no retirement home for heroes. That's a powerful statement. There is no retirement home for heroes. The hero's journey does not have a beginning and an end and a culmination that it just stops. No, it goes on to the next beginning. There's no retirement. We do not retire from being a living soul in a living creation that's as vast and eternal as anything you could ever imagine, right? It's just so expansive and so exciting. This concept of mortality, or dying perhaps, it's so prominent right now because we don't actually retire. Even in Terry Cole Whitaker's passing this year, she didn't retire. I totally believe that. Terry Cole Whitaker is not retired. She is just in a new form. And boy, when the world sees her again, watch out, because Terry's going to have a whole other level of messages for all of us. And I look forward to that. Okay, and they go on to say in the road back, we returned to transform our organizations, our communities, and our worlds. In the resurrection, we accepted our identities and committed to living lives, matching our potential and our power to make a difference. In the return with the elixir, heroes lead change within their organizations, their communities, or their worlds, while also concluding one journey and launching a new one. Do you see that dichotomous oneness? Do you see that simultaneousness? Do you see that the ending is the beginning and the beginning is the ending? It's all one wave. All one wave. Okay, they go on to talk about leading change. After an arduous and perilous journey, fairy tales and legends, and Hollywood tells us that the hero rides into the town square and delivers the elixir. The townspeople spill out into the streets and unite in celebration as the hero quietly slips away and rides off into the sunset. And yet, what would happen if you returned from an impactful institute or powerful life altering program, presented the definitive solution for all of the world's problems, and then slipped out of the room to watch your favorite reality TV series? You probably could find your magic solution precisely where you left it, unconsidered, unnoticed, and untouched. If not, you ought to investigate the nearest trash receptacle. Countless blogs, books, seminars, etc. have been devoted to the challenge of leading change. But the most important and relevant part for the hero's journey is that the return with the elixir is not just a destination or an outcome, but an ongoing process. It is a process of changing, of healing, and above all, of leading. The hero is the champion of things becoming, not of things become, says Joseph Campbell, the hero with 1,000 faces. In this process, you also have the opportunity to become the mentor, to then lead others to discover their own potential and to traverse and triumph through their own heroic journey, right? The hero returning with the elixir becomes many of the other roles in the hero's journey for others, including that mentor. Okay, and then the next journey. At the moment you think you have achieved everything you can achieve, you choose to either stop living or to start venturing. For those who have chosen the hero's journey, there is no cruise control, no pause button, and no vacation. Look again at the image of the hero's journey. The return with the elixir brings you back to the ordinary world, albeit a world with a new normal. Standing still is the fastest way of moving backwards in a rapidly changing world. Wow, that's a powerful quote from Lauren Bacall. I oftentimes marvel at the Chicago Bulls of the 1990s, my favorite basketball team growing up, which won 6 championships that decade. Many professionals in the sports world have said that it is much more difficult to win a second consecutive championship than to win the first. The reason is that if you put forth the exact same level of performance the second time, chances are that everybody else already is prepared to match or to surpass that level of performance. Imagine the amount of focus, motivation, and strength it must have taken for one team to win 6 championships in 8 years. Now imagine the commitment, focus, motivation, and strength for those people who have given their whole lives to a cause, to an issue, or to an organization. What are the causes, the issues, or the organizations that matter for you, to you? Who are those people who inspire you to step up, to take a stand, and to make a difference? These are great questions and these are great concepts. We need to constantly be willing to be adaptable and agile and growing and changing and transforming old and new in the same breath every day. In the next breath, you die to the old version of yourself. That's a willingness to be that agile and not attached to what you were just moments before, because we're always growing forward. We want to be looking forward at what we're creating, not just moments ago or weeks ago or decades ago of what once was. That's where a lot of people get trapped in the baggage, in the bag of rocks, right? In the sandbags I've talked about before when we talked about Horton Hears a Who and some other films depicting that within Hot Air Balloon, right? We don't want to be weighted down by the sandbags of our memories and the things that we rehearse about ourselves. We want to be willing to grow forward, look forward, quantumly leap forward. We don't want to quantum leap backwards. I certainly don't want a quantum leap backwards. We want to keep going forward. Just like Lauren Bacall said, standing still is the fastest way of moving backwards in a rapidly changing world. We are in a time of quantum change and quantum leaps. We want to keep moving with that inertia. Okay, and then the last part of their message in that blog is that commitment a single journey or a series of journeys? The people you are committed to, inspired by, the new adventure that you're about to go on. Whatever your response, the most pressing question is, are you ready to be more than ordinary, to be extraordinary, right? Are you willing to go from the level of ordinary to the level of extraordinary and continuing to move into new and newer and newer and newer forms of yourself? It's a powerful question. It's a powerful question on the cusp of 2025 to be considering. Okay, and I have 3 songs prepared for you today. Today's soul songs are number 1, Christmas 2024, The Eve of Rebirth. Number 2, Rise and Thrive in 2025. And number 3, I had to throw in a Color the Magic because we are on the cusp of 2025. And I just thought we'd round out this call with new inspiration about what Color the Magic may mean. Okay, so let's listen to the first of the 3 songs, Christmas 2024, The Eve of Rebirth.
On a silent night, bells softly ring. New beginnings, bright new life they bring. With the gift of love, wrapping our hearts. In this sacred time, fresh world restarts. Grace is here, let old fears fly. Willing to let go, release a sigh. Unwrap the light from above. Embrace the world in purest love. Old stories fade in shadows of grace. God's warm mercy and each gentle embrace. Leaving baggage behind, letting wounds mend. In His love, burdens find their end. Grace is here, let old fears fly. Willing to let go, release a sigh. Unwrap the light from above. Embrace the world in purest love. This eve we gather, dreams reborn, bathe in the light of Christmas morn. New stories we write with hearts open wide. Heavenly love as our guide. Grace is here, let old fears fly. Willing to let go, release a sigh. Unwrap the light from above. Embrace the world in purest love. In purest love.
That is such a beautiful song. I love that energy. Christmas 2024. You could insert holiday season 2024, the eve of rebirth. I love these lyrics. Grace is here, let old fears fly. Willing to let go, release a sigh. Unwrap the light from above. Embrace the world in purest love. This eve we gather, dreams reborn, bathe in the light of Christmas morn. New stories we write with hearts open wide, heavenly love as our guide. I love this energy of the newness that is rising to meet us on the cusp, on that threshold, on that beautiful shifting of ages between 2024 and 2025. I believe the world will not be the same. as we move into 2025. Very, very powerful. We are on the eve of a grand rebirth. Okay, the next song is Rise and Thrive in 2025.
In the year of 2025, rise and thrive and come alive. Look ahead to what's to be. Embrace the spark that sets you free. Quantum changes in the air. Feel the surge, we're almost there. God's warriors in the light, restoring faith through day and night. Step into the brilliant light. The earth is healing breath by breath. Together we defy what's left. Quantum changes in the air. Feel the surge, we're almost there. God's warriors in the light, restoring faith through day and night. On display, find your truth in each new day. The dawn of hope in every stride. Be yourself, embrace the tide. Quantum changes in the air. Feel the surge, we're almost there. God's warriors in the light, restoring faith through day and night.
Beautiful song, Rise and Thrive in 2025. I wonder if you guys can tap into those frequencies in your own life. In the year 2025, rise and thrive and come alive. Look ahead to what's to be. Embrace the spark that sets you free. Quantum change is in the air. Feel the surge. We're almost there. God's warriors in the light, restoring faith through day and night. Just a powerful song talking about breaking the chains that have held you tight, that have entangled you into the 3D matrixes, storms and games and tricks and all those incarnations. So very, very powerful time for us to turn and look forward and not look back. Look forward to rise and thrive in 2025. And now we'll listen to the last song, Color the Magic. It's the last Color the Magic song for 2024. Let's have a listen.
Paint the sky with your own shades. Let your dreams set the parade. Stars align in your own way. Tomorrow's yours to seize today. In your hands a world of light. Break the chains, embrace the flight. Gifted heart and open eyes. Shatter clouds and claim the skies. Color the magic in your face. Fly so high, break all the chains. Embrace your gifts, purpose found. Change the world, turn it around. The old earth's dream. Color the magic in your veins. Fly so high, break all the chains. Embrace your gifts, purpose found. Change the world, turn it around. Ever the magic in your veins. Fly so high, break all the chains. Embrace your gifts, purpose found. Change the world, turn it around. Color the magic in your veins. Fly so high, break all the chains. Embrace your gifts, purpose found. Change the world, turn it around.
Okay, powerful song, Color the Magic. I love those lyrics. Paint the sky with your own shades. Let your dreams set the parade. Stars align in your own way. Tomorrow's yours to seize today. In your hands, a world of light. Break the chains, embrace the flight. Gifted heart and open eyes. Shatter clouds and claim the skies. And then the lyrics for the chorus are color the magic in your veins, fly so high, break all the chains, embrace your gifts, purpose found, change the world, turn it around. That's what we're doing. We're turning an upside down world right side up. God, source creator, is the perfect architect. What is it? The ultimate baker that has all the ingredients to turn this upside down world around. But we are God's instruments of change. So the change is happening through each soul, each precious soul, to use Dr. Terry's words, each precious eternal soul, spirit soul, right? We're the ones turning it around, and it starts with us. And then in the hero's return, right? Returning with the elixir, we are changing the world as leaders of change, right? And we are turning the world around. Okay, so my last message for you today on Christmas Eve 2024 is a little story that I created with the template of "Twas the Night Before Christmas," but with the messages that we've been journeying, certainly this last year, certainly this last probably 6 months, as we've talked a lot about the hero's journey. And in the new year, I'll probably talk more about the divine ascension hero's journey. But here's a message from my heart to yours on this Christmas Eve. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the skies, a sense of new beginnings was ready to rise. Chapters were closing, new ones began, with courage to try new things so grand. Believing in oneself, a brave world in sight, talents and visions would take flight. Active participation in a world so vast, returning with the elixir from the journey cast. The hero's journey, an epic complete, wisdom gleaned from trials they beat. This Christmas 2024, may you rise and shine, embrace and express all that's truly thine. The new year promises greatness anew. You are the greatness promised, it's true. So let your light shine bright and clear, for in this brave world there's nothing to fear. As the clock strikes midnight with dreams in tow, a new chapter awaits with potential to grow. With every ending, a beginning takes flight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and Happy New Year to all of you. I thank you for spending your precious time, your precious moments with me in these videos. And I hope that these insights, these frequencies, these messages from Dr. Terry, this template for personal transformation from Joseph Campbell, that it helps to empower and fortify your journey so that you can step forward into your new chapter as the clock strikes midnight and you have your dreams in tow with the potential to grow. Okay, with that said, I invite you to join me on my Substack, frequencywriter.substack.com. I invite you to visit my website at frequencywriter.com. Pretty much all that's there now are my ebooks that you can look into, and also Freeing an Incarcerated World, the film trailer that I created with 2 other co-producers. And I invite you to visit my channel on YouTube, which is Color the Magic, and subscribe there. You can also visit with me and many messages in the archives there, and new messages will be forthcoming in 2025 at wholesoulschoolandfoundation.org. Please consider donating to this humanitarian project. You can donate directly through the website at wholesoulschoolandfoundation.org. And you can also find us on Rumble, Twitter, True Social, and Telegram, and also on Spotify and iTunes and your favorite audio streaming platforms. And I invite you to please subscribe to either Substack if you're listening to it there, or also to me at Color the Magic on YouTube. You may also find me on Rumble at Whole Soul Mastery. I'm around in many places, so you can find my videos across the internet. I thank you for visiting with me today until the end, and I will see you again soon in January 2025 for more inspirational podcasts, messages, and musings. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and I will see you soon. Blessings, everyone.